eastern areas of Scotland, highs of around 7 or 8 degrees, and in the south and west we'll be reaching double digits for the first time in a little while. Looking ahead to Sunday, we've got a low pressure system taking centre stage. That will spread further spells of heavy rain through the country, particularly across eastern areas where it will linger into the start of the new week, turning a little bit brighter across the southwest, but it will be breezy. Now, as I said, next week it's looking relatively damp across eastern areas to start, but it should turn drier as well as colder. Bye-bye.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
There's just 2 weeks left to see how you could win your Christmas this year paid for by us. First, we'll give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash. Then we'll give you a further £10,000 cash to spend on all your Christmas presents, even the tree. Christmas lunch, that's on us too, with £1,000 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite supermarket. Finally, a GB News Christmas goodie bag. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome along to what is going to be an absolutely sparkling edition of Patrick Christys' Nightlight Edition.
They should stop the war immediately. You go by the battle line wherever it is, otherwise it's too complicated. You'll never be able to figure it out.
Well, this is big. So President Trump has issued a warning saying basically surrender by Thursday to Ukraine, apparently, which is an interesting turn of phrase. We'll dig into that also.
This is the first budget to unravel before it's even been delivered.
Yeah. Well, it's not just the budget that's unravelling. A new poll that has made the front of the Daily Telegraph says that the Conservatives are down to just 14 seats if a general election took place now. And on the front of the Sun...
My mistakes have been put on the public stage. Other people's mistakes aren't. And there are many things that are good, but good news doesn't sell papers.
brace yourselves. Sarah Ferguson, the former Duchess of York, is set to do a tell-all interview. She's currently touting for bids for a tell-all interview, and
he's got a big immigration problem, as you know, and he's got a big energy problem.
Yes, well, in a meeting with the socialist mayor of New York, Mandani, President Trump has actually ramped up that pressure on Sir Keir Starmer again. There is a really stellar set of front pages to get stuck into here, so we'll do the lot of them. Well, joining us this evening, of course, we have said goodbye to the live studio audience, sadly, so it's all about you at home or wherever you are now. We've got journalist and broadcaster Linda Jubilee. We've also got broadcasting royalty Christo Fufas. And we have got political commentator Andy Twelves. But yes, like I was saying, there is so much to go at here. The Tories on course for just 14 seats at the election. All of the talk has been about Sir Keir Starmer going. When's he going to go? He's out on his backside, all of that stuff. When are these letters of no confidence going to come in? Is it going to be the budget? Is it going to be the May elections? Why is no one really saying the same thing about Kemi Badenoch? And though I'm not a betting man, and I'm certainly not encouraging anyone to gamble, I wonder what the odds are for neither of them being in charge at the next election. So there we go. I have to stop filling now, and we're going to go to Tatiana. There you go.
Patrick, thank you very much. Appreciated. Sir Keir Starmer has told GB News he wants to be Prime Minister until 2034. Sir Keir's been rocked in recent weeks amid claims that Labour backbench MPs want to replace him with a rival such as Wes Streeting, Shabana Mahmood or Ed Miliband. Allies of the Prime Minister made clear he would fight any leadership challenge last week. Speaking to GB News' political editor Christopher Hope, Mr Starmer reiterated his pledge at the election to be Prime Minister for 10 years. Donald Trump has been meeting with the incoming mayor of New York City, Zohran Mamdani. The US president says the pair have discussed topics like housing and food, as well as the price of oil and the Middle East, adding they agree on much more than you might think.
That I feel very confident that he can do a very good job. I think he's going to be. I think he is going to surprise some conservative people, actually, and some very liberal people. He won't surprise them because they already like him. We're working with Lebanon. We're working with everybody in the Middle East. That's another thing I think we have in common. We want to see peace in the Middle East, and we actually have now, for the first time, peace in the Middle East after 3,000 years. And now we're going to refine it, and I think you're going to see some very positive things happen.
The former leader of Reform UK in Wales has been sentenced to 10.5 years after he admitted accepting tens of thousands of pounds in cash to make pro-Russian statements to the media and European Parliament. 52-year-old Nathan Gill pleaded guilty to 8 counts of bribery in dates in 2018 and 2019. His activities included making pro-Russian statements about events in the Ukraine and in the European Parliament as well. Millions of households will see their gas and electricity bills go up this winter after Ofgem raised its energy price cap. The 0.2% increase takes effect on the 1st of January, means that bills will rise by around 28 pence a month for the average household. The unexpected increase comes after experts said they expected prices to fall by 1%. And a Strictly Come Dancing star has reportedly been arrested on suspicion of rape. A man who cannot be named for legal reasons was arrested in October over an alleged incident last year, according to the Sun newspaper. It is understood the alleged victim was not a contestant or professional dancer. And those are the latest headlines for now. Is over to Patrick.
You can now watch GB News live across the United States of America and the world on Truth Plus. Scan the QR code to find out more, or visit gbnews.com/truth.
Welcome along to late edition. Let's give you, this is a proper set of front pages for Saturday's front pages. I'll whiz you through them and then we'll get stuck in. The Daily Telegraph goes for the Tories are on course for just 14 seats at an election. And apparently, a little birdie was telling me, she happens to be sitting to my right, that they could be going as low as 7.
Yes, that was reported a couple of weeks ago. And one of the seats, it struck with me because one of the seats is my seat, Beaconsfield. Joy Morrissey, the MP, was one of the 7 that was due to hold, but the rest...
Interesting.
Obliteration.
Right, well, we'll go to that. There's a lot there. The Independent is that the US warns Zelensky, sign our peace deal or lose our weapons. Now, President Trump has supposedly given them a deadline on Thursday. We'll talk about that. The Sun, wow, this is a biggie. Fergie time. Sarah Ferguson considers offers for a tell-all TV interview. 6-figure sum for the first chat after losing title. If she says that she's going to say some sensational stuff, that 6-figure sum is going to turn into a 7-figure sum rather quickly. The Daily Mail, Ukraine, Trump turns the screw. Zelensky's agonising choice as President demands he accepts humiliating peace deal by Thursday or lose US support. We're going to talk about this because there's several different angles to this. Is it really that humiliating? Is it actually realistic? And also, what if Zelensky says, screw you, Trump? Then we're on the hook, aren't we? Us, France, etc. And maybe some of you are willing for that. Maybe some of you are definitely not. Let's go for the eye. PM losing control of Labour MPs before key budget as promises help. As he promises help on cost of living. Second MP, Whittam, has come over the top. Nadia Whittam has come over the top today again following Clive Lewis and calling for him openly to go, I believe. The Express. Honour brave heroes hurt in the line of duty. MPs consider injury in service award for police officers who are forced to quit. The Mirror. Farage pal betrays Britain. That is the story about Nathan Gill. Ex-reform bigwig gets 10 years jail over bribes for pro-Putin speeches. And The Times. Surrender land or lose US support, Kyiv told. I don't know if it's Kyiv, it's Kiev, anyway, whatever. The Guardian. PM urges Farage to root out reform links to Russia. Yes, quite interesting. And then maybe when he's done that, the Labour Party can have a look at their links to China. But anyway, let's get to my panel on this now. We're going to lead with the front of the Daily Telegraph, which is total Tory wipeout, and it's 14 seats. Why is there not more talk about Kemi Bates not being given the heave-ho, Christo?
Because I think it would be a really silly idea, because the Conservatives have got to stop changing their leader every 5 minutes. Margaret Thatcher had an absolutely dreadful couple of years when she became leader of the Conservative Party. She did not perform in Parliament. She couldn't get the hang of it, and then she got into her stride. If you actually listen to what Kemi Badenoch has to say, I actually think she talks a lot of sense. The issue that you've got is not Kemi Badenoch. The issue that you've got is the fact that no one believes, no one is prepared to be able to forgive the Tories because of the 14 years previously. So they could change the leader, look even more unstable, in my opinion, and then they would still face whatever that leader says. People saying, well, hang on, you had a chance to solve problem X, problem Y, problem Z when you were 14 years in government. So I don't think Kemi's the problem, and I think it would actually make it even worse if they got rid of her.
Total Tory wipeout?
I've seen an estimate that says it can go down to seven Conservative MPs. Now, Christo, think that you are mostly right there, but I think that because Kemi Badenoch has performed better lately.
Yes,
she's had a couple of decent PMQs. Yeah, but she's not, as you say, she's not the problem. It's the fact that the Tory party decides to change its leader so frequently led to a lot of mistrust with the general public.
She's had some easy PMQs though. I say that as a Labour supporter. The last couple of weeks have not been good for the Labour government. You would be pulling your hair out, screaming, crying, if the leader of the opposition did not do well the last couple of weeks at PMQs. She's not doing these great, oratory performances across the dispatch box. She's holding the government to account, which is what you expect, the bare minimum.
Can I say to everyone as well, sorry, because the other big news of the day is obviously that it's called Fergie time, which is that Sarah Ferguson is considering offers for the tell-all TV interview. It's on the front of the Sun. Now, we did that about 15 minutes ago in my last show. We're going to come to it in the next section after this, because we're hoping to get a bit more detail on it in the meantime. So do Keep watching and we'll get you the latest on what is probably definitely the most sensational story of the day. I'm just waiting for a little bit more info for you, so please just hang on with us.
I thought you were going to segue that into, like, Fergie announcing her Tory candidacy or something. I thought that's where that was going.
I just want a Conservative leader.
Yeah, well,
I just wanted to be able to knock it on a little bit since we spoke about it about 15 minutes ago. But the other thing with this Daily Telegraph story is a huge victory for reform. That's what's being predicted here, which will allow you now, Andy, to talk about what's also on the front of the Mirror and The Guardian, which is that Nigel Farage being urged to root out reform's so-called Russia links, and, of course, the sentencing today of Nathan Gill, who got, I think, 10.5 years in jail for bribes.
Yeah, so Nathan Gill, former Welsh leader of Reform UK, but before that, I think the more important part of that, because he was only Welsh leader for a couple of months, he was the leader of Welsh UKIP and was one of the MEPs in the Brexit party that Farage took to Brussels for that short 9-month stint before we lost our seats there. He's been done for taking bribes when he was a member of the European Parliament, for saying pro-Kremlin propaganda in the European Parliament. He's got done for it today, 10.5 years. And originally when this story came out, Nigel Farage and Richard Tice and other bigwigs of that era, Rupert Lowe, Alex Phillips, Martin Daubney, all the kind of household names of the Brexit era, went, oh, we don't know him, we don't know him, we don't know him. And then came all the photos and the videos and the endorsements from the last 10 years that they were being pals. I think Nigel Farage used the term, he's a good, honourable man in the spiel for the Welsh Reform video. So I think there are serious questions that have to be asked.
Well, let's pose those questions, because we did this again a little bit previously on the other show, and the overwhelming consensus, I think, although obviously I imagine, let's be honest, it was an audience that is largely sympathetic to Nigel Farage, was that, a bad apple doesn't ruin the whole batch.
Well, I think that if you were... Look, this is clearly dreadful for reform. Let's not sugarcoat it. And they would be absolutely right to nip this in the bud from any other impropriety that might potentially be there, and to absolutely condemn this. However, as I said to you very briefly in the last programme, I would imagine that it's not a game that you want to play, Andy Twelves, of let's tar the entire party with the scandals of one person that might be in that party, because I could give you a list way longer than those in Reform of those just in the last 18 months in Labour that have brought the entire party into disrepute.
In Welsh Labour, the leader of Welsh Labour, what have they done?
Are we narrowing it to those who are actually in the government?
Someone that's had a leadership position. I think, lying about a phone theft for insurance or not paying council tax on your second home is extremely different to selling out your country, committing treason and selling out to Russia.
Scandal is a scandal.
I don't think that's true at all. That is not true at all.
Guys, just when it comes to... I'm sorry again to do this to my long-suffering production team, but I've just opened Twitter and seen something, X, and just seen something that relates to the iWeekends front page, if we can get that up. And it is relevant, talking about chaos in parties, because PM losing control of Labour MPs, and this is it. The breaking news now is that the chief whip of the Labour Party, Jonathan Reynolds, has told MPs that he doesn't want the job. He doesn't want the job. He's responsible for party discipline, obviously, ahead of the budget.
Has he said that, or as a source
No,
said that he said that?
So, Chief Whip, Jonathan Reynolds, has told MPs that he does not want the job just days before the budget.
Who would want that job? Who would want to try and keep that bunch of absolute...
Yeah, but that says something, that he's prepared to resign now.
So, they are all... The problem is, right, that they are all further left than even you. That's the problem.
That's not true.
I mean, I don't know if you saw... I'm just going to bring up her name, but I don't know if you saw. This is absolutely defines the problem that we've got in the UK at the moment. It was a clip I sent you earlier, Patrick, of Magda Wierzicka. She is the CEO of a massive billionaire investment fund in South Africa. She's got a huge venture capital fund in the UK. She was on Bloomberg this week, and she said the UK is uninvestable. She is pulling out of the United Kingdom. She is going back to all of her South African assets and working there instead, because she said that it is a socialist government, that there are serious problems with admin, red tape, and the government is making it worse, and that the number of people that this government is prepared to have sitting on unemployment benefits means that the UK is over. Now, you've got people in the Labour Party that not only do they not recognise that, they think the solution is to penalise people like her who have massive venture capital funds and try and give them wealth taxes.
It's interesting. It is really interesting you talk about venture capitalist funds and investing investing in the tech and sovereign AI. I think it's interesting that you talk about that, because today, in fact, it was announced today by Kanishka Narayan, the Minister for AI, a Labour MP, a Labour minister, that one of the biggest venture capitalists in the world was going to chair the sovereign AI unit of the UK, 500 million of private money investing in AI startups in the UK. Same announcement, more than 20 massive FTSE 100 companies are investing in the UK. They're opening British branches for anything from data science to Wave and Waymo bringing autonomous vehicles here.
How many
massive.
have we got to 10,600? Because when you get to that number, which is the number of millionaires and investment people that
you can't say venture capitalists hate the UK. Oh wait, a venture capitalist is running the UK's AI sovereign unit. Oh well, no, but it's not really real. That real. Come on, behave.
You've given a handful back of the
versus one person versus one chief executive quoted.
Getting away here
versus
from the
one.
point of the story we were discussing.
Yes.
Which is the PM losing control of Labour MPs. And I do think this is happening, and I do think that this comment is very, very damaging. And I think that after the budget next Wednesday, things will be a bit clearer, but they won't look good for Labour. They just won't.
I tell you what, though, it's on when you think about it, isn't it? So you've got the front of the Daily Telegraph tomorrow, which is saying that the Tories are going to be pummeled into oblivion. They're only going to get 14 seats at the next election. You've got both The Guardian and The Mirror going off on saying that Nigel Farage needs to root out so-called links to Russia, and obviously highlighting that. That Mirror headline, Farage's pal betrays...
That's true.
That's
true.
Right.
But the easiest problem to deal with.
Yeah, quite. And then the Eye is saying that Keir Starmer's chief whip says he doesn't want the job anymore, which obviously means there's about to be a huge rebellion, doesn't it? Because he will know this. He wants out of it. He can't handle it. So that's the biggest sign yet that we're on the brink of a huge Labour rebellion. I mean, good. Total chaos. Nice. Well, it looks like we're going to have a nice, quiet 2026, doesn't it?
And you know, you talk. I'm sorry. I'm going to go back to that point because it's the fundamental point that is the problem that we've got here in the United Kingdom, which is that our economy is on its backside, and the reason is.
And that's just because of 18 months of Labour.
No, they've made the problems they inherited worse. Can you honestly not see that? Our debt is higher than it was before. Our economy.
The fiscal implications of the last budget will not come into place for another 18 months.
Right.
Come on.
The economy was growing when the Conservatives handed it over. Inflation was lower than it is now. Now, it might have fallen a little bit this week, but food inflation is absolutely higher. Billions were given in public sector pay rises, and our net migration figures this week showed people...
You can't complain about wage.
Problems that won't be solved really by either of these two parties, because no one has been prepared to look at the long-term prospects of an ageing population, of people that don't work. You know, these are problems that go back decades.
Yes.
It's not going to be...
You say the two parties, Labour and Tory. Reform have been running those councils for what? 6 months, 8 months now. They're putting council tax up in every single one. They haven't done their big Doge programme that they proclaimed they were going to do because they've realised there is no money. So I don't think Reform have the answer either. Their answer is leave the ECHR, leave the ECHR, leave the ECHR.
We won't know until next year whether local councils do well or do badly.
Let's whiz on because we've done the kind of... I know we've covered... a large number of front pages in one go there, but I just think it's fascinating to see that. But the Tories, Labour and Reform in a bit of strife on tomorrow's newspaper front pages. So that's where we are politically. When we come back, though, we are going to be doing something a little bit more sensational because Sarah Ferguson, the former Duchess of York, is looking like she's touting her wares. She's showing a bit of ankle to absolutely anyone.
I bet she is.
She is.
Well, you should have said big toe.
Showing a bit of big toe. Yeah, she's showing some big toe. Hey, you know. And she looks like she is gearing up to do a whopping great big tell-all interview. But there is a brand new way to take part in the conversation by becoming a friend of GB News for free. Take a little look.
Join the community and be part of our shows by becoming a friend of GB News. Get a direct line to join the conversations that you hear us talking about every day in our programmes by commenting on your say and voting in You Decide polls. Access opinion, analysis and behind-the-scenes videos as we share more from the stories that you see on TV and radio. Plus, watch our shows live and on catch-up anywhere, anytime. If you love our channel, become a friend of GB News for free by scanning the QR code or going to gbnews.com/friend. Don't just watch our programmes, come and be a part of them.
Well, OK, yes, do be a part of the conversation. Coming up...
My mistakes have been put on the public stage. Other people's mistakes aren't. And there are many things that are good, but good news doesn't sell papers.
Well, there we go. Fergie time, the Sun is saying. It looks as though Prince Andrew's ex-wife, anyway, lots of X's going on here. Andrew's ex-wife is going to do a tell-all interview for a wedge of cash. What do we make of that? Stay tuned to find out.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
The new guidelines instruct visa officers to reject applicants who may be eligible for public benefits as part of the president's hardline crackdown on immigration, all to prevent people becoming dependent on those public benefits and draining the US resources.
So with an increasing obesity problem in the UK, should the UK follow Trump and ban visas for fat people?
Well, joining us now is the body positivity influencer and actor George Keywood and the former presenter of Fat Families, Steve Miller. Steve, I think I might know what you think about this one. Let's kick off with you.
Well, I think this is great. I think this is Trump using common sense. This is Trump putting his country first. And wouldn't that be a breath of fresh air if we had it in the UK? Of course, you know, by encouraging people that are too fat and have already got medical conditions, serious medical conditions, coming into your country, what I'm saying is, it is a common sense factor, because the likelihood is that they're going to cost your country a lot of money. And let's face it, the taxpayer is already under stress. The NHS is knackered. And do you know how much it costs per year to look after someone with diabetes? It costs up to £3,000 a year. So no, we're bust. We can't afford it. So Trump's policy is something absolutely we should adopt. It's common sense, and I think most British people would agree.
George Keywood, what do you think? Is he being unfair?
Well, I'm British and I completely disagree. It's absolute nonsense, isn't it? Let's be honest. I mean, Jesus Christ. Are we getting to the point where we're saying that fat people can't go in a country? I mean, it's just absolutely ludicrous. And it's something that I expect for somebody like that to say.
GB News, the People's Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys Tonight Late Edition. So, there's lots on. Sarah Ferguson is all over the front page of The Sun. And she is apparently considering offers for a tell-all TV interview. Six-figure sum has been touted for the first chat. Now, I think that's a low-ball figure. I mean, it depends, obviously. I mean, six figures can go very high, of course. But I would have thought she'd get a mil, especially if she's talking about doing it in the US, which apparently she is. A source told The Sun last night Andrew's had his chances to tell his story. Now it's Fergie's time. Yeah, OK, although it didn't go well for Andrew, did it? So...
No.
So no. Sarah Ferguson is considering offers for a tell-all TV interview in the wake of her public downfall over links to sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. I think I know where this is coming from. It was reported earlier in the week that she'd lost her book deals, I believe, that publishers had pulled out. She's obviously now not living at Royal Lodge, which means I think she's going to have to pay for somewhere.
Where is she living? Did she go to the estate with him?
No, we don't know. We don't know.
No, because apparently one of the reasons why he finally relented was, so this is again just according to reports, is that she basically said, right, look, we've had enough here and I'm off. So I think they might have consciously uncoupled properly.
That's sad.
Like Gwyneth Paltrow and
I think there was a
for very
big,
different reasons.
big
Gwyneth Paltrow had to eat
codependent.
bread during lockdown, you know?
Yeah. I think they're codependent on each other, those two. I don't think it's about mutual love or respect or anything else. I think they are codependent. One can't survive without the other. They're quite. I've met her. She's at a social engagement. She's actually quite a chatty, nice, fair woman, and she doesn't. You know, there's no real side to her. But unfortunately, she is a very, very naive person, and she lacks judgment. And the fact of the matter is, I think she turned a blind eye to a lot of stuff that Andrew did. He's the one that created far more damage than her, actually. And so she may have some kind of story to tell, but it's hard to work out how it would be anything so shocking.
Unless it is, and the Sun are reporting this in the depth of the article, is this sort of perhaps throwing Andrew under the bus? You know, bearing in mind that they are now distanced from each other, is this her chance to say, nothing to do with me, it was all him, I had absolutely nothing to do with this, I'm the innocent party here, so it becomes a PR move on her part, she gets a shed load of cash in the bank, and also the public that will then say, whether they buy it is another matter, poor you knew nothing about what Andrew was allegedly up to. I think that would be the only strategy, because otherwise what else would
what else could she say?
Yeah, what would they... No one's going to pay a fortune. You made this point in the last show. Or off air, I think you made this point, that they will do a pre-interview with her. They will want to know what they're getting for their money.
Yeah. They will want to know more about Epstein.
Yeah, and they'll want to also, in order for the public to buy it, and if this is a PR move so that she's got a chance of actually having any kind of profile going forward, she will have to answer those questions. Why did you send that email? Why did you stay in touch with him? Why did you take the money off him? All of that stuff.
So you're absolutely right. So let's assume, and I think this is fair enough to assume, that Sarah Ferguson wants to do this because she wants to rehabilitate her image. So she's going to have to come up with answers to the following questions. Why did you email Epstein after you knew he was a pedophile? So she's going to have to come up with a good thing for that. Why did you stick by Andrew when presumably you must have had an idea that he was a bit of a wrong-un, even though he's never been found guilty of anything. So she's going to have to come up with answers.
Sorry to jump in, but how well did you know him? Did you see anything when you were in Epstein's company of anything that was going wrong? How could you not be suspicious as the mother of daughters yourself? I mean, those are all the questions she will have to face.
You have to ask those questions.
Why did you finally... Why is it true that you said that you'd had enough when you wanted to leave? Or did he lie to you too? All of this stuff.
Exactly. What did the Queen know? I mean, if I were King Charles at the moment, I would be very worried.
Do you regret marrying? Do you regret going back with him? You know, because there's things that she can say here, aren't there? Because they've got kids together. Well, not kids now, are they? But they've got children together. You know, she could go down that route, couldn't she?
And she must be concerned about what's coming out in those Epstein files. She doesn't, you know, she needs to distance herself from that because that could be very, very reflectively damaging to her.
This could literally be a life raft deal for her.
Oh,
you know, she's almost got, because she's so been you know, so ostracised by both the royal family and indeed the public. She must be thinking, what have I got to lose?
Yeah, and in America, she's not treated that way. They treat her very differently in America.
But has she got a good public image in America after all?
It's better than it is here.
So, but I think that it would be misjudged. I mean, I don't know, maybe she'll choose a softball interview and just take the money.
It'll be easier for us to do it in America.
Yeah.
It'll be easier for us to do it in America. If she did it here, I think with respect to our American colleagues, we know her better, don't we? And by the way, you're not the only person that I've spoken to who said that she's tremendous company.
Yeah, she is.
And actually very nice. And I'm not just saying that. Like, I've heard that from a lot of people.
Yeah, I just used to hang out with paedophiles.
Well, there is that. But they said that she is. You know, there were other things that came up, Andy, there, like how chatty she is, right? But
she constantly buys gifts for people, probably paid for by Jeffrey Epstein. But I know someone who worked with her, and she was constantly like bringing in little gifts for their children and all this sort of stuff. So.
Ooh.
Yeah, OK,
that sounds much more worse.
So she's going to have to address the Epstein stuff, we know that. She's going to have to go into some detail about the relationship with Prince Andrew. There's a lot more she could say as well, because apparently the Duke of Edinburgh hated her.
There's loads more on Andrew. There's a lot more on Andrew. Yeah. Honestly, I hear loads from people who, from years ago when he was at Naval College. I don't want to say too much.
No, please
but
don't.
Years and years.
I mean, she's clearly...
Otherwise, we'll end up paying him enough money to move back into Royal March, and we don't want that.
I mean, she's clearly desperate for A, cash, B, attention,
It's the money.
C,
This
both
is
of
about
the above.
money.
But she's got 2 kids with the fella. She's not going to throw him massively under the bus.
Well, unless they wanted to. You see, that's the other thing I was going to ask about this.
I think
maybe they want her to.
What, the daughters?
The
or
daughters
the producers?
might want distance between her.
Why would you? That'd be awful.
Well, because she'll be firing the bullets from them, because also their image is at stake here.
Absolutely. Are they still princesses?
And if
Yes,
they are, because
retain
there
their
wasn't the
titles.
full act of Parliament. However, if it might be that she's actually distancing herself and the girls from the former Prince Andrew, and that means she's almost doing their dirty work for them, because her image is on the floor as well.
Remember, she's an extremist now. She has to take those girls and move them, get some distance.
So she's maybe doing them a favour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, watch this space, I suppose. It's gonna. Let's be honest. She's touting it on the front of the Sun. The other thing she might be doing here is relatively cleverly giving a bit of a warning to the royal family, which is that if you don't look after me, I'm not a royal lodge anymore. You know, all this stuff. You know what? This is
She
what
could
I
just send
can
an
do.
email.
This is what I can do.
She could just send an email
emails
to
haven't
them.
worked out that well for her in the past. So,
And she's seen how other people, have been able to be a little bit coercive with the firm, shall we say, by doing their interviews on television. So it may just be a tactic.
Emily Maitland's back. We need her.
Okay. Nice. That's
not a sentence you hear on this channel.
No. Right, just again to say that Prince Andrew, the artist formerly known as Prince Andrew, whilst I think many people would say a deeply unpalatable chap, has not actually been found guilty of anything and does deny all the allegations against him. Right, well, coming up.
They should stop the war immediately. You go by the battle line wherever it is, otherwise it's too complicated. You'll never be able to figure it out.
The Times, The Independent and The Mail, which are all coming out tomorrow morning, they go off Ukraine, and they do it by Trump's ultimatum. He says Ukraine must surrender land on Thursday, agreed to by Thursday, or US support ends. And let's be honest, we know what that means. It means that we're paying for the war. Why are you looking at me like that?
No, nothing. I was just reading some of the comments from our lovely viewers.
OK, all right. Well, we'll see. Well, we might go to a couple of those when we come back.
Hello again, good evening. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. Another cold evening to come across southeastern areas, but elsewhere it will turn much milder, and the milder feel will be felt for all by tomorrow. That's because we've got a weather front moving in from the west that will introduce that milder air as well as some rain and cloud. And this evening that rain will push across parts of Northern Ireland, much of Scotland and into parts of North Wales, Northern England through the early hours of this evening. Staying dry ahead of that across many central and eastern areas. The cloud will start to thicken as well. So after a chilly start to the night, temperatures will rise by tomorrow morning. They'll actually be closer to 4 or 5 degrees. Clearer skies as well developing behind this weather band across Northern Ireland and much of western Scotland in particular. So here will be a relatively fine start to the day. Still quite a few showers around though across the Shetland Isles, parts of the Western Isles and the Highlands, but most of these showers will be falling as rain, which will make a difference. And clear skies across much of Northern Ireland will bring a bright and sunny start to the weekend. Very different story though for England and Wales. There's a lot of cloud around along with this weather front. Some heavy bursts of rain, particularly across the mountains of Wales, parts of the Pennines as well. So we could see that mixed with snowmelt bringing a few localised impacts from the rainfall. But otherwise it's going to be a generally pretty dull and damp day for many central and eastern areas of England. Elsewhere though, it should brighten up as the day goes on, particularly across eastern areas of Scotland. Highs of around 7 or 8 degrees, and in the south and west we'll be reaching double digits for the first time in a little while. Looking ahead to Sunday, we've got a low pressure system taking centre stage. That will spread further spells of heavy rain through the country, particularly across eastern areas where it will linger into the start of the new week, turning a little bit brighter across the southwest, but it will be breezy. Now, as I said, next week it's looking relatively damp across eastern areas to start, but it should turn drier as well as colder. Bye-bye.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too.
From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the late edition. Now, this is on 3 newspaper front pages, possibly 4, actually. And it is President Trump's ultimatum to Volodymyr Zelensky. He says that they need to surrender land by Thursday, or agree to, or the US could cut off the supply of weapons and intelligence to Kiev. The angle on Zelensky is that he's facing this impossible choice. Does he betray the Ukrainian people and give away a bit of land? Does he betray the great ally of America? What's he do? How will he cope with this? The other angle to this is that if people like Sir Keir Starmer and Emmanuel Macron get in Zelensky's ear and he says, all right, then I'll swerve Trump, then we end up on the hook for whatever happens in Ukraine, don't we? Yeah, and that's the angle I care more about.
Precisely what's happening, and some of the parts of the 28-point plan are really quite interesting. Yeah. You're quite right. It is about giving up land, so therefore they would still sacrifice Crimea, but also I think the Donetsk region and Ukraine's sovereignty would be confirmed. There's a few other bits as well there, but the size of Ukrainian armed forces has to stay at 600,000 personnel. Ukraine agrees to enshrine in its constitution it will not join NATO. NATO agrees to include in its statutes a provision that Ukraine will never be admitted in the future. Like I said, I can't find the bit, but it was definitely Crimea, Donetsk, and there was another...
There's the Donbass.
The Donbass. There was another region as well where Ukraine actually still hold.
That's right.
And I can't find the region that it is. I will in a moment.
OK, all right.
And they've lost many soldiers holding on to that land, which they now have. They will have to give back. But remember, this whole war erupted because of the NATO situation, because President Putin did not want Europe pushing up against its borders.
But if he took over Ukraine, he'd be bordering quite a few NATO countries.
Yeah, that's right, yes.
So what's the logic there?
Well...
You go, well, I don't want a buffer nation, but all of these nations, I'll just have them.
Well, because I think no one believes that he will stop at this. Even if he signs this deal, no one believes he's going to stop there.
Why are we baiting out Zelensky?
All right, can I just... ask us, are we in this room prepared if Zelensky sticks the 2 fingers up to Trump? Are we prepared to fund, to supply and to arm and to therefore deal with any escalation that may or may not happen in the future, this ourselves?
See, I don't think we are. I don't see how we could possibly afford that. We've already got to get defence spending up, apparently, according to Trump, to 5% of... within the next 5 years. It's a 2.5 now. You might say, well, there's just another couple of percentage points. That's a vast sum of money that has to come out of the exchequer to pay on defence spending. That's without all of this happening.
The US is providing so much, from missiles to things like air support to intelligence to all of that. And we've got a Putin spy ship firing lasers at RAF jets at the moment. They are bang at it between them and the Chinese. Between the Russians and the Chinese, they are bang at it. I don't know. I mean, it's unpalatable, but it's also not as controversial as this sounds. And I would urge some people in the press, like at the Daily Mail and co, who've done, great articles on this, I'm not knocking it, but to go back and watch an interview that I did with Boris Johnson about a year ago, seriously, because I asked Boris Johnson whether or not, how he thought the war would end. And he said in that interview that Ukraine is going to have to give up land. Now, it's not controversial. Boris Johnson was Mr. Ukraine.
Also, but Boris Johnson, I mean, I think that I don't know whether he helped matters, because I think he thought it would be his Falklands moment. The territories, by the way, that would be relinquished to Russia would be Crimea, Luhansk and Donetsk. They would be recognised as de facto Russian. Kherson and the Zaporizhia power plant would be frozen along the line of contact, which would mean de facto recognition along there. Russia would have to relinquish its other agreed territory. So that's 5 areas that Ukraine would have to concede to Russia. However, there are interesting assurances in there as well, as about NATO and about the fact that there can be US military equipment could be put in countries near to Ukraine. European fighter jets is also being stationed in Poland. This is all about NATO. All of this is about NATO. Every single second of this is about NATO, and those are going to be the most important.
Can I just say, there is another issue, which is that Zelensky, some people very close to Zelensky are starting to get done for monumental corruption. And if this war ends, does the finger start looking at him or not? Will he be thinking about that? But we're going to go over stateside now. I'm sorry it's a little bit later than usual. Apologies to leave you hanging there, Ben. Ben Leo, he's going to be doing the latest show live at midnight until 2. Go on, Ben, what's going on for you?
Yeah, really interested to hear your conversation about Ukraine and Russia. Nigel Farage today has spoken out about the deal, saying, breaking ranks, I guess, calling out Donald Trump and the deal, saying that Ukraine, well, it's unacceptable pretty much. They shouldn't be expected to give up half their army, reduce their army size, give up swathes of land. But I think in President Trump's mind, he just wants the killing to stop. And actually, I've spent many regrettable hours on Reddit and YouTube and watching POV, point of view, clips of Ukrainian and Russian boys. They are boys, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids fighting trench warfare in 2025, getting chased by UAV drones and getting blown up, and it's terrible. I think President Trump just wants the killing to stop. The argument, of course, is that Russia would then proceed to try and take Poland, and next minute they'll be on Britain's doorstep. I'm not a geopolitical expert. I don't really believe it, but I think if that's the case, you deal with it when it happens. Anyway, also tonight, Zoran Mamdani, the man that President Trump calls a lunatic far-left communist, who, of course, was elected as New York mayor some weeks ago. He was in the Oval Office today, and it was a very entertaining show. A lot more civil than you would have expected, but reporters did their job, including Rob Crilly from the Daily Telegraph, by the way. Others asking Mamdani and President Trump, Mr. Mamdani, do you still think President Trump is a fascist despot? The answers will be revealed, the clips will be revealed on our show tonight. Also, the BBC, not sure if you've seen, they've lost another £1 billion through people refusing to pay the licence fee. Another 300,000 people telling the BBC, I don't watch TV, Gov, I don't have a TV licence. And of course, there's a story as well, which actually, Patrick, I'd like to get your thoughts on it. A teacher was sacked from a primary school for having an OnlyFans side hustle. She was doing some naughty stuff online. HMRC have gone after her because she said she made 60k a year and she didn't pay tax on it. A, do you think it's acceptable that teachers can have side hustles on OnlyFans? And B, we've got Lily Phillips on the show later tonight. I was a bit umming and ahhing about having her on, but she's on anyway. Do you think it's okay for people to have side hustles on OnlyFans? And would you speak to Lily Phillips?
And would I speak to Lily Phillips? Right, OK. Well, first things first, I've seen the other girls work on OnlyFans, and she deserves a pay rise. The other thing about Lily Phillips, I would say is, look, she's a divisive character. I think if Bonnie Blue is Champions League, and by the way, I'm not talking about looks here, I'm talking about doing deplorable things online, then Lily Phillips is probably Europa League, isn't she? Look, you know, good luck with it. Good luck with it, I suppose. And there are a lot of things I want to say that are going through my head now, but I'm just not allowed, and I'd quite like to not lose my job over this. So I'm going to leave it, I think, though. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think she's a really bad example. I think she's a bit of a wrong-un, and I think she poses a lot of threats, actually, to normal girls. I mean, just look at the state of boys and young teenage boys who think certain levels of sex is acceptable in school. So I'll tell that to her tonight. I'll tell her straight tonight.
The thing I would like to say, by the way, sorry, Ben, and indeed producers on this, is that I think one of the most damaging bits about people like Bonnie Blue and Lily Phillips is that it perpetuates that notion of quotes-unquote white S word, right? Slacks, right?
Yeah.
Because, which is particularly dangerous at the moment in light of what we've had about the grooming gang inquiry, the role that certain communities view young white girls as being, and all of that. And I think there is an interesting question to be had, and it's a controversial point here, Ben, about, you know, when she does these, I was nearly called them meet and greets, but it's a bit more than that, isn't it? Meet and greets. What are the demographics of the people that attend there? Because I've seen certain pictures, and I'm sure we all have, and I think that's quite interesting. I think that says something. So, yeah. All right.
I'll ask her tonight. You see, yeah, go on. I'll let you go, Patrick. I'll ask her tonight. We know who the demographics are looking at the videos, but I'll ask her tonight.
All right, mate. Well, look, cheers. Anyway, take care. Good chat. All the best. Good luck with Lily Phillips. Right, OK. I had no idea it was going in that direction, but there you go.
No idea. Lily Phillips
you know who she is.
She's a phenomenal young actress from North Derbyshire. She's from near me in the UK. Me and Lee Anderson grew up just near her. She's a phenomenal young actress, massive social media following.
She's in a Europa League. I mean, what even is that?
She knows her way around, you know, some balls.
Bonnie Blue did the one. Bonnie Blue did 1,000 men in
1,057. 1,057.
Okay, Andy, you're a bit too obsessed with this. And she didn't quite do that, but has done similar things.
No, it wasn't even the same. Like, she did 108, I think it was.
Right, okay.
Nowhere near.
Really, 108 is still 108.
Yeah, but you got to get the numbers up. You got to get the numbers up.
I think your point's really well made, though.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you.
Because, you know, if you're a woman, the fact of the matter is you've got the Bonnie Blue and, what's her name, Lily
Phillips.
Lily
Phillips.
No, it's not Lily Allen, it's Lily...
She's done us.
Definitely not Lily Allen. Lily Phillips.
Sorry.
But you behave like this. It has an effect on all women, and it has an effect on some men who choose to view women in a certain light.
Toxic femininity.
Really bad.
Toxic femininity.
Wow. All right. Well, look. Hey, Benio's going to be disgusting, but I know he's going to put those points to it, and I think it is. I think it is important, and you know, it says a lot about the state of British society when you see the kind of blokes that turn up for that kind of stuff.
I'd like to know.
Right. Okay. Well, there's still more to come. Apparently. Well, there's loads more. In fact, I'm going to tease you about... Apparently there's some bad news for your Christmas lunch, and so find out what that is. But I've eaten it. That's probably the bad news.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Heavy rain and strong winds likely in Italy and Croatia for the first part of the weekend. Meanwhile, it's fine and sunny for most of Spain and Portugal. Chance of some showers for Madeira and also across the Canaries. Sunny but not particularly warm across much of Spain and Portugal. Wet and windy weather, especially for southern Italy, Sicily and parts of Croatia and mainland Greece. Many of the Greek islands dry and fine on Saturday, but it will be cloudy here on Sunday. By the time we get to next week, it looks a little warmer for Rome and Dubrovnik.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health, Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Welcome back to the late edition. So, there's been bad news for your Christmas dinner. Yes, that's right. Especially if you're looking forward to turkey on Christmas Day. An outbreak of bird flu means there could be a shortage of turkeys this year. And if you're lucky enough to get your hands on one that isn't riddled with flu, then you can expect it to be smaller than usual and more expensive.
It's not about size, Patrick. It's about what you do with the turkey.
What's it like? You know, when people they're really looking forward to something and then they unwrap it and they realise it's a lot smaller.
Small, watery, you know, awful. It's not about the size. I think you can have other things than turkey. We were just discussing actually.
That turkey might have a great sense of humour.
Real. You know, they might be really, really good chat.
It could be rich.
They can listen and they can feel and they can be emotional. Do you know what I mean?
We are still talking about turkey.
This is bad news. Bad news. Who has turkey on Christmas Day, though?
I always have turkey on Christmas
Day. I bet you do.
What do you have? Goose?
So I have had goose, but the problem with feeding a big family is that goose is a bit skeletal. There's not enough meat on it. The year before last, I got 2 ribs of beef because I thought that the turkeys were so overpriced that year, I was unprepared to part with the cash. And it looks like the same thing's happening this year. But I went to an absolutely fantastic countryside pub earlier in the year and I had proper coq au vin, a dish that is bastardised by, processed pre-packed meals all over the country and all these supermarkets. When you get it done properly, it's fantastic. Yeah. And you don't have the big drama of carving at the last minute when...
How is coq au vin? Is it like breasts or... Like, is it like what bit is coq au vin like?
I would use thighs, chicken thighs.
Yeah. And legs, I think, are in coq au vin.
Is it?
Yeah.
Like, I've never. I don't know.
It's really delicious.
But it's bad news. You know what we're going to get? We're going to get the same stories that we get every single year.
The migrants will have the turkeys.
Which is
I bet they will.
Not the migrants having the turkeys, Andy. Although that will happen. No, but we're paying for that turkey. But what will happen is that we'll end up with the rancid turkey pictures. We get it every single year.
Every year.
People pre-order the turkeys, and then it comes up, and it's like.
But that's
this
why
shop Tesco ruined my Christmas.
Got to support your local butcher. I buy my turkey from the local butcher. I pre-order it.
Yeah.
I go along.
I go to my butcher.
Up, and, get it the day before, and you can open it and have a look at it, and it's always absolutely.
That's where I got my rib of beef from. The local butcher. I go up there once a week. I don't like to eat meat all the time because it is very. If you eat the right meat, it's expensive.
Yes.
So I go once a week to the proper butcher, and I buy everything from pork sausages to. I bought a whole leg of sheep.
You'd be better off not eating those things like so often.
Cut them out.
Doesn't get it.
What do you actually have on Christmas Day? Turkey?
My girlfriend's got quite a lot of brothers, so they're all like big guys. So like beef, gammon, turkey. I think we're doing a 3-meat approach.
I work my way through the farm. I do, because they have the kind of the orange soaked gammon. No joke on that. Fine. Your orange soaked gown.
Ben.
And then we go, and then we've got the turkey, and then we've got the ribber beef as well. I'll just have it all. Anyway,
how many brothers around your house for Christmas?
I bet you want to know about their pork sausages.
Ham in Coca-Cola.
The ham in Coca-Cola. All right, good stuff. Right, guys, let's whiz you through the front pages very quickly. The Telegraph, Tories on course for just 14 seats at next election. The Independent, one of several papers leading on the fact that Trump is ultimatum to Zelensky. The Sun, Fergie Times, Sarah Ferguson, big tell-all TV interview for loads of money. The Daily Mail, Ukraine, Trump turns the screw. The Eye, PM losing control of Labour MPs. The Chief Whip said he doesn't want the job, apparently. The Express, we need to honour our brave heroes who've been hurt in the line of duty, give awards to police officers who had to retire early. The Mirror, Farage pal betrays Britain. The Times, surrender land or lose the US support, Kyiv is told. The Guardian also goes on that Farage story as well. Thank you to my wonderful panel. Over to you, Ben.
There's just 2 weeks left to see how you could win your Christmas this year paid for by us. First, we'll give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash. Then we'll give you a further £10,000 cash to spend on all your Christmas presents, even the tree. Christmas lunch, that's on us too, with £1,000 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite supermarket. Finally, a GB News Christmas goodie bag. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
A really important thing about GB News, and it's brought something completely different to the landscape.
The mainstream is all about keeping the status quo as it is, ticking along quite nicely. They don't want to ask difficult questions.
GB News exists because there is a desperate need for fearless journalism that puts the people first.
GB News came on the scene as a disruptor, and it has always been a disruptor ever since.
Journalism in this country has been a cosy world full of groupthink until now.
Well, the reality is that most British journalists are afraid. That's not GB News.
Journalism is journalism at the end of the day, and we're not here to serve any masters. Our masters are our audience.
We're here to talk about things in a way that have never been broadcast on British airways before.
Do not miss a moment on GB News.
The #1 news channel in the country. Well, loads of news knocking about tonight. The Tories are on the brink of oblivion. Sir Keir Starmer has lost control of his party. The Chief Whip wants to quit. Bit of strife for Nigel Farage on the front of some of the left-wing papers. Trouble for the royal family. Sarah Ferguson's apparently about to do a tell-all interview. And also bad news for Zelensky, because Trump said he's got until Thursday to cede territory. Wow. Where's he even going to start? And what more has he got for you? It's over to Ben Leo for The Late Show Live. Ben, what a night of news.
Yeah, so much going on, Patrick. As well, the BBC losing another £1 billion in licence fees, 300,000 people telling the Beeb, I don't watch TV, Gov, I don't need to pay a licence fee. It just seems to get worse for them. The big stories, though, stateside is, of course, Zohan Mamdani, the man President Trump called a far-left lunatic communist. He was in the Oval Office today. They've got a UFC fight in the White House next year, a big cage fight. I guess this was the precursor, or at least billed as the precursor. I'll show you what happened when one reporter asked Mamdani, Mamdani, do you still think President Trump is a fascist? Stick around in just a tick for the reply. Hello, good evening. Hope you're well on The Late Show Live tonight.
We have a communist coming to the White House because that's who the Democrat Party elected as the mayor of the largest city in the country.
Yes, box office at the White House today. New York Socialist Mayor-elect Zohan Mamdani went face-to-face with President Trump just months after calling him a despot and a fascist.
Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
Do you still think Trump is a fascist then? Stick around for the president's full reaction coming shortly, and let me tell you, it was a blinder and you don't want to miss it. I'll also bring you the inside track from today's bombshell meeting with President Trump's former senior advisor.
I'm so saddened to see what happened in Europe with the immigration.
Sort your countries out. A GBNews exclusive reveals the Trump administration is delivering a rallying cry to Sir Keir Starmer and all European nations to protect their people, including Brits, from mass migration and organised rape gangs. A White House official from the US State Department joins me shortly.
BBC News is not institutionally biased.
Dear oh dear, more trouble at the BBC tonight. Another resignation, this time from a board member accusing the corporation of governance failures after the Trump editing scandal toppled, of course, its two most senior executives. And just moments ago, President Trump was pressed on his plans to sue the BBC.
Last week, you told me you were pushing ahead with your plans to sue BBC for $5 billion. You were going to speak to Prime Minister Starmer as well. Is there any progress or any updates from those issues?
Stick around for President Trump's answer to that. We'll also be getting stuck into tomorrow's front pages and the best stories from Fleet Street hours before they hit the shelves back in Blighty. And of course, we're live in Washington, D.C., just yards from the White House, bringing you the stories America's talking about and that matter to Britain too, including this one.
Even he doesn't like it?
It's unclear. He was sort of...
Well, he'll have to like it, and if he doesn't like it, then, you know, they should just keep fighting, I guess, you know. Well, at some point he's going to have to accept something, you know. He hasn't accepted. You remember right in the Oval Office not so long ago, I said, you don't have the cards.
And increasingly frustrated, President Trump puts Ukraine on notice, agrees to the peace plan put forward by the United States, or risk losing America as a military partner and ally. And they have until Thursday next week to sort themselves out. But elsewhere, talking of world leaders... Whoopsie, the Prime Minister stumbles at G20 with his top advisors, get this, asking the British media not to run that clip. Go on then, one more time. Sorry, had to do it. Also this evening, I'll be joined by one of the biggest and most controversial OnlyFans models. the British woman Lily Phillips to discuss the rise of adult content creation. This comes as it emerges a British teacher was sacked for running an OnlyFans side hustle before getting sued by HMRC for not paying tax on her 60 grand earnings. I'm Ben Leo, this is The Late Show Live, and your night's just getting started. Right, let's get stuck in, shall we? Politics makes strange bedfellows, doesn't it? But this one may take the biscuit. President Donald Trump and New York's new far-left mayor-elect Zohan Mamdani, the man Trump once called a 100% communist lunatic, well, they went shoulder to shoulder in the Oval Office today. They were smiling, they were nodding and praising each other like best buddies at a wedding.
That I feel very confident that he can do a very good job. I think he's going to be. I think he is going to surprise some conservative people, actually, and some very liberal people. He won't surprise them because they already like him. We're working with Lebanon. We're working with everybody in the Middle East. That's another thing I think we have in common. We want to see peace in the Middle East, and we actually have now, for the first time, peace in the Middle East after 3,000 years. And now we're going to refine it, and I think you're going to see some very positive things happen.
So, all very nice and civil, of course, but yes, he's talking about this Zohan Mamdani.
New York will remain a city of immigrants, a city built by immigrants, powered by immigrants, and as of tonight, led by an immigrant.
Well, he was very keen to run his mouth then, wasn't he? But today, I guess he seems to have lost his bottle a little bit. But whilst the meeting may have appeared quite cordial on the surface, the barbs the pair have previously traded weren't forgotten.
He asked about your comment calling the president a fascist, and your answer was, both President Trump and I have been clear about our positions and our views. Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay, you can just say yes.
Okay, all right.
Okay. It's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
Joining me in the studio in Washington, D.C. is one man who's very familiar with President Trump. It's his trusted former senior advisor, Jason Miller. Jason, good evening. Thank you for your company. I watched that exchange